Welcome back to Rich Words Music, where today I am joined by a very special guest indeed. He's a good friend of mine. You might know him from his time as a YouTuber. I believe it's been nearly a decade that he's been a stalwart of the online guitar scene, and he's one of the best shred guitarists around. You might also know him from his time at the Andertons YouTube channel, his time at the GAK, Guitar Amp and Keyboard YouTube channel. You might know him from his own YouTube channel, the Guitar Bros Demos channel, which is sadly deceased at this point. You might know him from his own channel, Joss Allen, and you might also know him from his Dixieland jazz guitar beat combo, Mutilius. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Joss Allen. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm out of breath now because I just did that off the cuff and it was quite a lot to say. But yeah, you've done a lot, basically.
When I hear it back like that, it does sound like it's been a few things, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never kind of like just listed it off before, so it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, and those were just the main things that come to mind, but you've done so much brand stuff as well. Like,
yeah.
You've done a lot. You've been around a long time and you're still such a young man. So that's a big advantage for you. Well done.
Thank you very much. Just a clarification as well, just so other people know when they're watching this. I'm going to be speaking to Rich here on my laptop, but my camera is set up here, so I'm going to be kind of bouncing between the two. Just so people know.
I'll be doing a similar thing, so it might look like we're frantically nodding at each other during this video, but we're actually, well, we do agree with most of what the other says, but we've got cameras and Skype just to make sure that we get everything. Yeah, exactly. So
what's
anyway,
wrong with him?
The world wants to hear from Joss Allen right now. You are hot property, and that's not just through normal stuff. You know, your Instagram page is doing the business as usual, but you've recently come out and become the recipient of 2 Vola signature guitars, which seem to be very exciting instruments indeed, and you seem to be incredibly proud of them.
Sorry, it sounds like someone's having a bar fight outside my house. Yeah, it's a strange one. When I think about like kind of, I think it's the same as anybody unless they've got like a lot of visual. How do I say this? Visual obviousness of how well they're doing in their career. Like when it's you looking at that stuff, it almost seems like there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when I look at what I've done, and I kind of see and think about what I've done and what I'm doing now, and I watch YouTube videos of people like you and Vlad and some other people that have done some YouTube videos, and they say this stuff about me, about like, you know, like a prominent figure and all that sort of stuff. It genuinely feels like I'm non-existent. Do you know what I mean? In my brain, like I'm not like there or anything. So with the signature guitar thing, it's almost like it kind of puts me on the map in some shape or form. Like after 15, 16 years of playing guitar, like this is the first time ever in my musical career where it's been like, I'm doing something now. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of like the pedal or the picks or anything like that, or being able to travel out of the country just purely on guitar stuff, this is the first time ever where it feels like, okay, boom, my name is finally on the map in the music world, and hopefully people will start to pay attention to what I do a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, I mean, being paid by companies, for example, Hughes and Kettner, in my previous life, we paid for you to come out and do shows with us to represent the brand. And you've done pedals, you've done picks, but this is a signature guitar. So a company has chosen to, you know, it's a lot of risk for the company as well to go through this process with you. So Vola must really, really believe in you, Joss Allen, as a guitarist and as a brand, I guess. How does that feel?
You
seem to be a little bit like you love it, but at the same time, you almost feel like you're not worthy of it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, when you think of, like, I write, so at the moment, I'm also employed by Vola as well. So the cool thing about that is that I get to write the blog posts on the website, and I also look after their social platforms now. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. And, you know, it's awesome because not only do I get to work with my family on, you know, doing that side of things and get paid for it as a job, but I also get to obviously do the signature guitar thing as well, which brings me even closer to those guys as a as a musical family sort of thing. But when I was told, my first blog post for them on the website was the one about me and my signature guitars. And that was insanely difficult. So I decided to kind of write it in as if it was not me writing about me. It was someone else writing about me.
You've got a signature guitar and you've started referring to yourself in the third person, is what
exactly
you're saying.
just so that I don't kind of go, happy, happy, happy. Do you know what I mean? Kind of look at it from a different view sort of thing. And I had to write that blog post, and as I was writing it, it was kind of like I kept on deleting parts because it was still me writing it. I was like, I can't say that. Do you know what I mean? Or I can't say that about myself, or blah, 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 blah. But it turned out really good. But the whole feeling about the signature guitar things in the blog post, my first draft of it, was that, I didn't think that it was the right move because it's been 2 years in the making, but it was also like, I still don't feel like I'm worthy of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like the first line on the blog post, because I remember writing it now, the actual final one was that, for years and years, you look at a signature guitar, or signature guitars have become such a big thing in the guitar world for not just huge famous rock stars anymore. But the thing is, it's like, everybody looks forward to that so that they can, in some shape or form, imitate the people that they looked up to when they were younger, So when I look at all the people that I was looking at, like Dimebag, like Zach and stuff, people that truly, truly, truly covet and deserve having some form of signature item in that period of time, it's just crazy how much it's changed to now being a social face, like Instagram face or YouTube face. You don't necessarily have to be in a huge famous touring band to have a signature piece of gear. I just think that if you cultivate your skills to the point of where people are like, holy crap, man, this guy is good at playing guitar, then you can actually have a signature piece of gear. It's starting to kind of, I'm babbling, but it's starting to kind of roll a little bit into the form of where I can actually be comfortable with the signature guitars now, because they've sold so well. So because they've been selling so well, I can kind of be like, okay, it doesn't matter if it's my guitar, a signature guitar, it's just a cool guitar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that it's selling because it's a rad guitar. So that's how it feels right now.
And the fact that it's selling is like already sort of a proof, a justification for you and for Vola that it was a thing that was worth doing. I do think it's an interesting point about, YouTubers getting signature guitars. Like I've talked about quite a few with Vlad on the Cat Pick Friday show that we do recently. Yeah. So you were the most recent, but we've also mentioned the likes of Rick Beato, who's getting a Gibson Les Paul double cut signature. And we often mention people. Yeah, he is. Yeah. And it's, another guy who's not famous for being in a specific band. Yeah. And then, of course, we often bring up Rabea and Rob Chapman. So it's like you say, it's totally changed. But anyway, let's keep this on you, and let's go back those 2 years then. Tell me how you first got involved with Vola before the signature stuff came about. Okay, so in about... basically, when we kind of first started Guitar Bros demos, and it started to get the ball rolling, Greg got in contact. Greg is my work boss, and then my artist relations guy, like you were to me for Hughes and Kettner. Greg is to me for Vola. Okay. So Greg got in contact with us and said that he'd love to send us a couple of guitars to do some demos on. And this is when we moved into our new space and it started to look good, and Tom was really kind of going in on the camera stuff, and it looked crazy good and stuff. So Greg got in contact with us and said, I'd love to send you a couple of guitars. And he sent me this one, which is the Ares, or Ares. So the 24 fret, like, super shredder guitar. So he sent me that one. And then he sent me an Oz 22. Which is in my other room with some other guitars and cases. I don't really play that one because of some specifications on it that
is the reason why my signature exists. But so he sent me those 2 guitars, and I remember that me and Tom just played those 2 guitars in videos for like a couple of weeks, because I was so like, well, these are the absolute dogs. Do you know what I mean? I was like, these are the absolute incredible guitars. I could do the Oz stuff and play like Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the more bluesy stuff, and then I could pick up the Ares and like just do the full metal shreddy stuff. And after that, after the couple of weeks that we were just playing them for, I started seeing in comment sections like, can you just change the guitars, please? Can you like play some other stuff? Because that's all I was playing, sort of thing. So that's when we obviously started kind of, you know, me bringing more of my guitars to the studio and just kind of messing around with other stuff. And after that, it was kind of like, right, so thank you so much, Greg. The guitars can go back to you, sort of thing now. They're really good. And then that's when Greg and Sean, the owner of the company, kind of said, just keep hold of them. If you keep using them in videos like you have, you know, you can keep the guitars and you can keep using them. So I was like, amazing. So I started using them on my Instagram and, you know, started modding them and changing pickups and just kind of messing around with them and really enjoying them. And then NAMM rolled around, and that's when I got to meet Greg and Sean in person, and I was there with Anderton, so I didn't really get to do anything. And then just playing them for a year, next NAMM rolled around, and then that's when I went there as a free agent, and, you know, got to hang out on the sofa with you and Steve Steinem when I was with Lewis and everything like that. And I think we'd just done the amp fighter thing, so it was also doing some bits and pieces for when you were at Hughes and Kettner doing that, and that's when I'd done a live performance for Vola, and I had my photo on this massive like billboard at the Vola booth for this guitar, for this one.
Yeah, that one I recognize.
Pardon?
That one I recognize.
Yeah, this is the Luna. So This is the one that I've basically tracked my entire band's new album on, because I couldn't. This is just like the perfect shred guitar. Like there's no better shred guitar I've ever played than this. It's literally every specification for a shred guitar I could ever dream about, and it's just been absolutely perfect. So that was the one. So that was the one that they sent, that I was advertising and playing at the Vola thing. And then after I'd done the performance, it was kind of like, just come over here. And I went there and it was Sean and Greg. And it was like, let's start the conversation of a signature model, basically. And I was kind of like, okay, but communication actually got lost. Because I thought that they meant a signature model as in like what they've done for others, as in like, get me a USA custom shop built to my specifications, and it wouldn't go on sale, but it would be like my signature model. Do you know what I mean?
So like your personal guitar that you would play, but a one-off.
Yeah. And then it rolled round, basically maybe a year or half a year, and the discussion started up about that, and I was like, what? Wait. I was like, I don't understand. I was like, you mean you want to do like a range, like a production range out of Japan? And he was like, well, yeah, that was what we talked about. I was like, dumbass here. And then that was it. Basically, we agreed to it. We got all the stuff that needed to be signed and tucked away and information. And then we went into the design phase. And it's basically taken 2 years. So 2 years from signing the paperwork to agreeing on everything that needed to be agreed on to ideas, design, specification, implementing the design into like a CAD format, production, a couple of prototyping ideas, finished product to get into me. It's taken the entirety of UK lockdown, so about 2 years.
Yeah. So how did that process actually go then? Were you sending pieces backwards and forwards? Were you personally getting stuff in your hands to play, or?
No, because that would have been too crazy expensive, because they build them in Japan.
Yeah.
and with everything to do with the UK being so buggered with like import tax and duty and stuff because of us becoming independent, it was like, oh great, thanks for completely ruining this whole thing of prototyping for me now. So I basically had to trust the Japanese, which is the easiest thing you could ever do when it comes to quality and building a guitar. I've played enough guitars, I've played enough Prestige Ibanez, I've played enough Japanese ESP guitars to kind of know that a modern Japanese guitar is going to be, perfect. But they did send me photos and videos along the way from Japan, which was awesome. So I didn't have to annoy Greg or Sean because the Japanese just sent me photos and videos directly. But I already knew, just out of what I liked and what I want in a guitar, like a custom-made guitar, I rarely deviate from this. I knew exactly what I wanted. So that's why it only took 2 years, because I knew what woods I wanted, I knew what neck size I wanted, I knew what frets I wanted, I knew what colors I wanted. It was like the easiest decisions, because all my custom builds that are, still like to be finished now, not from Vola but from other companies, they're all pretty much the same wood specifications and fret size specifications. And I rarely deviate from that because it's what I like, so there's no point in, deviating from that. But it was as easy as that I wanted it to be an Oz shaped guitar, so their classic humbucker single guitar. But the main difference was that I wanted it to be 24 fret. It's kind of a necessity with what I like and what I do. And apart from that, there was some modifications that I wanted to change from that original guitar to kind of make mine.
When you first started the process, did you have like a totally open book in terms of the design and the specs, or did they tell you, look, we've got these body shapes, we've got these options when it comes to pickups, hardware, etc.? How free were you to go as mad as you wanted with everything? I mean, obviously everything that you wanted was probably similar to what they already built, but how free were you?
I mean, I could choose within every single guitar that they've made. Do you know what I mean? So it had to be a Vola model. I couldn't go like, I've designed a new guitar sort of thing.
They wouldn't have said like, oh, if you wanted like an Explorer type shape or a V or whatever, they would have said no to that. Okay. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, and plus being a Vola artist since like 2018, I wanted to, stay true to the books a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for example,
sure.
So for example, they've just released like an Explorer style guitar called the Forte. And for example, I can't have like a Forte body with a reverse Oz headstock. Do you know what I mean? It had to be a Forte body with a Forte headstock sort of thing. So, but the good thing about the Oz is that it's got a reverse 6-in-line headstock anyway, so it kind of made perfect sense for what I like. But in terms of color and specs, pickup choicings, hardware, completely free reign. It was always going to be Gotoh, not due to my choice, but Vola work with Gotoh, and I mean, you can't get any better than that realistically, unless it's incredible stuff. And it was always going to be Gotoh, and it was always going to be all Gotoh hardware, and it was always going to be handmade in Japan. So in terms of pickup configurations and trem choices, double locking, floating, non-floating, traditional, it could be whatever I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Were you at all limited in terms of price? Did they tell you it has to sit in a certain budget range, or were you personally thinking about what Joss Allen fans would have in terms of disposable income? What was the consideration there?
Well, the one thing that I knew that it straight away it was going to be over £1,000. I think it weighs up nicely with pounds, euros, and dollars. It's not too dissimilar. So like it's not like the equal rate for £1,400. It doesn't go to like $2,500, for example. It still stays within that numbered ballpark.
Yeah, I think in euros it's like 1,700, 1,750, something like that.
Yeah, so it's not too dissimilar in dollars either. So it's all like the same sort of ballpark figure. But I didn't want it to be like £2,000. Do you know what I mean? So that's why things like pickups I went with in-house Vola Japanese-made pickups, for example, because I didn't want, you know. At first, we were going to go with Seymour Duncan because while my dude at Seymour Duncan we were kind of in talks with them to do something with the guitar, but it would have made the guitar like way more expensive for every production model to have Seymour Duncans or bare knuckles or whatever. So I got to try, they sent me the 7-string, wherever that is. They sent me the 7-string, which has got fire and ice humbuckers and single coils, which are the same pickups that come in the boys in Kadinja and their signature models. It's a really hot bridge, and the single coils are kind of perfectly balanced for that humbucker sort of thing. I mean, I rarely use the single coils or the bridge. I rarely use the neck position on playing anyway. So I wasn't too bothered about that as long as they sounded really sweet and nice. But the bridge pickup was my main focus. And so I just opted for the same one that comes in the Kadinja models because it's chunky, but you can also split it. And it's not a tap, it's a split. So it sounds sick. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a proper decent SSS configuration as well if you want it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And they're much more modern sounding pickups, I assume, right? This is not for someone who wants like a vintage Stratty vibe, or can you do that as well?
It's for sure. I mean, if you listen to, the guys in Kadinja do it perfectly because I just don't play like that. They do the whole R&B thing a lot. And they use the single coils, and I'm telling you now, they are crazy sweet, like super Strat style pickups. They're not like modern in any shape or form. Don't get me wrong, the bridge pickup is a little bit more modern, a little bit hotter, but the single coils are, proper vintagey spec.
Yeah. Are there any pickups from kind of aftermarket brands that you could liken them to? I don't know, that's a hard question maybe, but if, there's someone out there who wants to get that kind of sound from those pickups, I assume you can't buy Vola pickups separately aftermarket? Where would they go? Is there a bare knuckle that would kind of match tonally, for example?
No, because I don't like bare knuckles, so I wouldn't match it to that. I would say something like probably more. Oh,
sorry, you said Seymour Duncan. Sorry, I've got bare knuckles on my mind for some reason.
No, that's cool. Like, I would say probably more like, I'd say the bridge is probably the closest thing I can think of is a less compressed JB.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more, it's got a little bit more brightness. And I don't know if that's because I've got a one-piece roasted maple neck and it's bolt-on, but it's not as compressed as a JB. It's a little bit more top scratchy, but it's like a bright JB, I guess.
Yeah. The roasted maple neck is also an interesting choice. It's a one-piece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you come to that decision, or is that something that you've also had on previous Volas and you just wanted that?
Almost everything I have from Vola, everything I have from Vola is a maple neck or a roasted maple neck with stainless steel frets. So that whole snap and zing, like that perfect combination of actual snap and zing is insane. And whether it's roasted maple or just maple, like the Luna is bird's eye maple, whether it's just roasted maple or bird's eye maple, or on the Luna a maple neck with an ebony fretboard, it's like, that's what I'm used to. And to be honest, I wasn't really thinking tonally or tone woods on that side of things. I was just like, this is what I've been playing since 2018. This is obviously what works for me. So having a maple neck, regardless of roasted or non-roasted, was the perfect choice. But because I got stainless steel frets, I knew that realistically speaking, on the feel of the fretboard, I wasn't really going to notice anything. I was going to notice more the stainless steel slickness. But on the back of the neck, my Luna, even though it's unfinished like standard maple, it got a little bit sticky every now and then. So I opted for the roasted with like that gun oil finish because I just knew for a fact that regardless of how much I play it or how sweaty my hands get, I'm not going to get stuck to that neck.
Yeah. What's the neck profile like? I assume it's a slimmer one.
Yeah, so it's exactly the same as the Luna. It's an Oz body with a Luna neck, which is like a Slim C. It's not super skinny any shape or form. It's like well, you've played like an ESP, right? Like a Japanese ESP.
Yeah.
You know how their necks are like not super skinny. They're like I don't know, like really nice fast necks that aren't super skinny.
Yeah, so it's not like an Ibanez Wizard profile or something. It's not
like,
this
it's
tiny
not
little
even,
thing, but it's probably a bit smaller than like, a Fender Modern C or something like that.
Exactly.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so it's like, it's nowhere near a Wizard. So if you're used to like a Wizard, well, the whole point is that like you can pick this up if you're a Strat player or an Ibanez player, and you should be able to get on with that neck.
Okay, and stainless steel frets is another thing that you've always had on the Volas, right?
Yeah, everything. Like everything. Yeah. Everything I have, obviously minus like the ML and the Les Paul, everything I have has got stainless steel frets. There's just something about that slickness, like regardless of what tuning I'm playing in, it's like, it just feels, obviously the fretboard gets dirty, but it just feels like it never gets dirty, And I know that they're just obviously gonna, I not that I play it enough, but you'll never ever have to kind of like refret the guitar or anything.
The roasted maple neck thing is interesting, and it's also part of the looks for me, because you've also got two very interesting finishes on the guitar, which I think a lot of people are talking about as well. So we've got, is it lemon green and charger orange? Is that the name of the orange one?
Yeah.
Tell me about those finishes, because they're very unique to you.
Okay. Let's go with this one first. So we'll go with this one first. So this is the lemon. I'm going to just move away slightly so you can get it on this camera. So this is the lemon green, lemon metallic green. Both of them are based off of cars. So this lemon metallic green is basically like a form of British racing green, but with a metallic sheen in it. Yeah. And the only reason why it's called Le Mans metallic green is because there was a Aston Martin DB9 that was racing for England in the 24-hour Le Mans race, which, if anybody's not kind of up on their race car environment stuff, which I'm not anyway, it's basically, as the name states, it's a 24-hour race, basically, for all of these crazy hypercars. And what I saw was the English team were racing an Aston Martin DB9, and it was in metallic green, and the grille on the front with the Aston Martin logo and the actual air intake grille at the front of the car was bright yellow. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that's the finish right there for me. So that was where we came up with having the finish of the guitar be green, the binding be yellow, and then the matching headstock is the metallic green headstock with the Vola sign in yellow. And that's where we came up with that because it's such a sick colour combination. Yeah. And then a tortoiseshell scratch plate, was that to match the car's interior or anything, or is that just because it looked nice? No, that's just purely because it looked nice. So I wanted like a two-part kind of track that somebody could take. With this metallic green, even though you can play obviously whatever you want on it, my first thing for it was that I wanted it to be more of the vintage vibe of guitar. You know, because British Racing Green is such a kind of a refined gentleman's colour that I wanted to add the Torque Guard to it, just purely out of respect for the color, basically. You know, you could put the guitar up against, I said it in the blog, you could put the guitar up against, well, you walk into this mansion, right? And in the mansion, there's this huge library, there's a smoking chair, there's a big fireplace, and sat right next to the fireplace is this guitar, you know? It's a gentleman's quiver. So I just wanted it to be like that. I wanted it to be super classic, just like the car. Like, there's a lot of heritage to that brand and England and all that sort of stuff. And the other main reason was because I'm English. So I wanted to use a British racing green. I wanted to use an English colour. I wanted to have it look like that, basically. So that's why I chose the Torque Guard and that colour and all that sort of stuff for this one.
So you've got one very kind of elegant, British, traditional almost colour. It's not a very traditional guitar in the way it looks, but the colour itself.
Yeah.
And the Charger Orange is the polar opposite of that design.
Yeah, exactly. So, just a quick one as well. This one is loaded with Monty's pickups as well. Mm-hmm. So the guys at Monty's designed me a really cool PAF. So it's a traditional PAF humbucker, but in the form of like a TV Jones.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say it looks a bit like a Filtertron or something, but yeah, it's
exactly.
a TV Jones.
No, like a Filtertron, like anything something that I just pulled out of a Gretsch. And then it's got 62 scatter-wound single coils in it. So this thing is like as classic as you can get now, you know. It's like got super low output humbucker and single coils, and it just sounds crazy good. It sounds amazing. Yeah. So that's the metallic one. And then you kind of, you go to, as you said, the complete opposite spectrum, which for me was for my metal boys and me. I wanted something toxic. I wanted something gross. I wanted something really loud. And I just thought, I was at NAMM with Lewis, and there was a car that pulled in and dropped off these, like, you know, like people in America that still dress like the guys in Motley Crue.
You mean half the NAMM show?
Yeah, basically. But they were all like, they were all
it
like,
probably was Motley Crue.
Yeah, maybe. But they were all like old. Do you know what I mean?
It probably was Motley Crue.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I know what you mean. You see a lot of people like that. That's what I love about NAMM, by the way. There's 100,000 people who kind of converge on that Anaheim Convention Center, and you see everyone in the music industry, including people who were probably musicians or semi-famous or professional players from 30 years ago, who clearly lived that lifestyle to the full. Yeah. And they're still there. They're just a little bit slower, and they still wear the leather jackets and the double denims and stuff like that. Cool guys, most of them.
Yeah, they still vibe on that sort of thing. But yeah, so these dudes jumped out of this car, and they're all grey, they're all old. They've all got long hair, and you know, some of them are rocking the bald ring at the top, but still got the long hair. And my favourite part is the leather trousers with the leather like cross knots that go all the way down the trousers. And then
kind of like a corset sort of jobby going on at the side. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And cowboy boots with the leather trousers tucked in. And they, like, you know, I'm not bashing them at all, but maybe it looked cool, but when they were young, but now it's kind of like, it just doesn't vibe. It doesn't fit well, sort of thing. It sounds horrible to say, I think, but it just didn't vibe. And I'm just standing, and everyone's looking, and everyone's like, what the hell is going on? And they jumped out of a bright orange Dodge Charger, and I was just like, this is it, man. I was like, so that's where the idea for this came from. It was like a bunch of old rockers jumped out of a bright orange Charger, and I was like, that's it. I was like, that's the colour. So that's where Charger Orange came from. And this is perfectly stock. So I wanted one guitar that Obviously, as my signature model, I didn't want to change anything about. So I only threw the Montys in that is because obviously they've got the same pickups in it, and it's nice to have a little bit of diversity between the two guitars that you own, you know?
Yeah.
So this is completely stock, nothing changed. Humbucker single, 5-way select switch, volume tone, all Gotoh hardware. In Charger orange.
And that's a see-through scratch plate, right?
Yeah, it's a see-through scratch plate, which I took the idea from the Oz model.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I took the idea from that.
How do you split the bridge humbucker on that? Is it like a push-pull?
No, it's literally just a 5-way. So I've opted for the pickup selection. I've got all the way to the back is the bridge. Then the next selection is literally just the split bridge.
Oh right, okay. So you don't have like the 5 Strat.
Exactly. Exactly, because that's the sound that I wanted. I wanted that sound and that sound, you know. Then that's just the middle. Then that's neck and middle. And then obviously that's just your neck. So the sounds that I predominantly only use are the bridge, the split bridge, and then the neck. That's kind of the sounds that I use, 98% of the time. Yeah.
You're kind of known to me for enjoying a taste in sort of neon lurid guitar colours, because I think when we first met you were playing, it was pink, wasn't it? The guitar you had back in the day?
Yeah.
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 Is that something that you dig over more traditional sort of two-tone sunbursts or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a reason as to why I like louder guitars. I mean, I'm not even necessarily into like that whole 80s shred metal kind of thing either. I like obviously a lot more extremely heavy stuff, but I think that the extremely heavy guys take a lot of inspiration from those colors from the 80s. Like the shrapnel era, like Jason Becker, Steve Vai, Marty Friedman. And then you look at the Bay Area thrash scene and you got like Marty Friedman, Dave Mustaine, all of those guys. They're all playing like one bridge humbucker, Jackson Custom Shop Kellys with a lightning theme on them. And I just love that. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted something super aggressive for my my kind of metal guitar, and this is what we came up with.
Yeah, the other thing which is kind of conspicuous by its absence for me is a big Joss Allen signature across the front of the headstock or something. You wanted to keep it really sort of aesthetically neutral, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I opted, instead of getting a signature, so there's no my signature on the guitar anyway, apart from my Shield logo that I've used for, I don't know, since I started doing YouTube. I got a friend to design it, and it was like a free little design thing. I just wanted to do it for this, basically. I'll put it up here. There you go. So I just wanted to do it for this, which is my signature Hawk pick. I'll show you now so you can kind of see it, that thing.
Yeah.
I wanted that logo because Dunlop... Oh, I've got a whole bloody chest full here. Dunlop wanted to make me some jazz picks. Some of these bad boys.
Yeah.
And that was like maybe 4 NAMM shows ago. And they wanted to make me some of these picks, and I just didn't have a logo, so I got a friend to hook me up with a logo for free. And then it just turned out that the logo was absolutely perfect for me. And it's basically like a J, an A, and then a really cool design little skull, and then my name underneath. And it's like a shield. And that is basically what sits. I don't know if I'll be able to do this, but that's basically what... Oh, perfect. That's what sits on the back of the headstock, instead of any form of signature, because I didn't want to... I don't know. I don't know if it's as obtuse as a signature. I don't know what people think about that, but I needed to put something on the guitar to say that it was mine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was just another Vola in the range. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, but it's like it's a fine line for me personally, anyway, with signatures because I've seen others, and I've used this one as an example before. But for example, maybe you remember it. Mikhail Ackerfeld from Opeth had a signature
With
PRS
the
SE
huge Opeth sign on the front of the guitar.
with a giant band logo on it, and
Yeah.
that might have been an amazing guitar, and it probably was. But anybody who was not into Opeth would probably have been turned off by the fact that there was that big logo on it.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure.
so I feel like it's a sensible decision to keep it discreet if you can.
Yeah. I wanted it hidden. We were even going to actually, we were thinking about putting it on the plate. That if you really didn't want my signature on it, you could just change the plate out to another black one. But we opted for the back of the headstock just purely because, I don't know, narcissism.
You got to have some narcissism to it if it's a signature guitar. You got to have some permanent aspect of it with your name on it, with your DNA in it.
Exactly.
So who is going to buy this guitar? Who's it for?
Me.
Okay, so that's 2 sold. We're good.
It's just for me. Who's it for? It's genuinely... So 100% diversity was going into the thought process of these guitars. So it's for anybody. It literally is. If you want to play disgustingly heavy, brutal metal, which seems to be the mass consensus of people that follow me, because there's actually only a handful of these orange ones left. Out of the 30 that were made, there's now only a very small amount left, like 5 or 6 left.
Really? You've sold like 25 of them already? Wow.
Yeah, so there's only a very small handful of the orange ones left. The green ones, I don't know. I know that a bunch of guitar shops in America bought pairs of both. And so some guitar shops, like Chondro Guitars, which is sick because I love going on their website and looking at what the crazy custom shop guitars they've got. So Chondro bought both pairs of the orange and the green. Another guitar shop that I don't know bought both pairs, and then we sold 5 or 6 literally a couple of nights ago. We sold like 6 in an evening of just the orange. So it was crazy. It was really, really cool. But I know that there's still obviously a bunch of green ones left, but there's only a handful of the orange. So I don't know who's buying them. I genuinely don't know, but I know for a fact that I designed it so that you could literally do whatever you wanted on it. You know, That's my idea, because if I do, not that I'm saying I'm going to do any demo work anytime soon, but recording or, you know, just doing Instagram posts depending on how I feel and all that sort of stuff. If I'm playing metal, then I'll be on the bridge. If I'm not playing metal, then I've got the single coils. Do you know what I mean? So I can literally do anything I want on them at least.
Will they make more of the orange one once it sells out? Or is it planned to be limited? Yeah.
No, the whole point was that the first batch was a limited run of, 30 of each colour, I think it was. I can't remember. But the whole point was that the first batch was meant to be a small run to see how everything went and how everything goes and everything like that. But luckily enough, the first batch has sold so well. So the next batch will be probably the same amount of guitars, but just like we're not too worried about how the sales thing will go because we know that they've done really well the first time.
Yeah, and so far you've been playing them on your Instagram. I've heard that you've been seeing Rabea. There's going to be a video with him. How else are you marketing the guitars? Will you be using any of the traditional channels like reviews in magazines or anything like that?
From what I know, we're going to be doing some magazine stuff, only for the pure fact that I'm actually writing up the stuff that's going to be going in the magazine for the guitars.
Okay.
But other than that, it's very difficult at the moment, only for the reason that, as you know, with COVID and stuff like that, as soon as you send a guitar or 2 guitars out for demo and all that sort of stuff, you can't really resell them. So they have to kind of just be a guitar that runs in circulation for demo work, which isn't like a bad thing, but because of who I am and me doing what I do, there's not necessarily any reason to kind of put them on or put them in the hands of other demo guys, just because I don't know, really. It's like, I'm not bothered, but I know that Vola will want to do something, sort of thing. So hence me, the other benefit is that Rabea literally lives 2 minutes down the road from me. So it's
that
not...
helps, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a thing. And to be honest, just putting the guitars on Rabea's channel with me and him doing it together, you know, is kind of like one of those things. It's like, do you really have to do much more with other demo guys? Do you know what I mean? Because Rabea's king. So there is, to me, personally to me, I've got friends in the demo world and everything, obviously, but to me, no one touches Rabea. In the demo world, he's the absolute king. And I'm not that bothered about how many subscribers other YouTubers have got and everything like that. If it's more than Rabea, I just think that genuinely he is the absolute Don Daddy Kong of the YouTube demonstrational world. And he's a good friend of mine, so it kind of made sense to just kind of put them on his channel and not really think of anyone else.
Yeah, sure, I get that totally. The one thing that I was sort of thinking of is there maybe 1 or 2 people in America who are perhaps more opened up to that audience. I mean, of course, Rabea has a massive USA following as well, and you have a lot of Americans on your channels, but it's like, I don't know, I wonder if there's 1 or 2 guys over there who could kind of give you a wider spread of coverage than you guys as Brits have.
I mean,
just a thought.
There's people like Gear Gods. I mean, Trey is another friend, so Trey could probably write some sick stuff on them. I know that Trey and Isaac are good friends of mine, so it kind of, you know, that sort of thing makes sense. I mean, the thing is, Sean, the owner of the company, actually asked me recently, was like, you know, are there any YouTube guys that you'd want to do anything with your guitars and all that sort of stuff? And it was such a half-assed answer from me, because ever since I stopped doing YouTube as like an all-the-time thing, I don't watch it. So I don't know who I would choose apart from friends. Do you know what I mean? So the Rabea, Trey, Isaac, Henning, probably, just because I'm friends with Henning and he's a nutcase. Who else? I mean, I just don't watch it anymore, Rich. I don't watch YouTube demonstrations anymore. I mean, I'd like to have Ola try one, just because Ola's the metal dude. I mean, he's not really a friend. He's more of an acquaintance. We just know each other, sort of thing. And who else is there? Jamie Slays. He's another UK-based dude. But you know, I'm babbling now, but it's more just like, I don't watch YouTube guitar demonstrations anymore unless someone sends me a link and goes, like, when you guys tagged me, like, that was the first time I watched a YouTube guitar video in ages, because it was about me and my guitars. So I was like, I'm gonna check this out. Anything else, I'm like, you know, I don't have to keep up with what's new anymore, because I'm not doing any videos. All that matters to me is my guitar going into my pedal, you know, going into my pedal, going into my Mesa Barbar amp, and I'm going to write some metal. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think about, ooh, what new overdrive pedals are there? I don't care. I've got my own signature. I don't need to do that anymore. I sound so negative, don't I? Oh my God.
It sounds like you're totally off the YouTube gear carousel thing.
Dude,
the review cycle.
couldn't be any further away from it. And pumped about it as well. Because now, as much as fun as it was and as insanely good it was, now when I have a day off, I either play it writing music for my band and actually being creative on that side of things, or I go out on a beautiful day with my girlfriend and, you know, I do that sort of thing. So it went from being a musician wanting to be in a band to just randomly falling into YouTube, spending 9 years of my life in YouTube, for it to be taken away, and then going back to now enjoying the process of writing music for my band again. So it kind of, you know, forcefully, yes, because the YouTube was ripped from me. But apart from that, it's like now, because I genuinely cannot be bothered to cultivate a fan base on the YouTube stuff again, now I just literally am a musician. Do you know what I mean? I've got the gear that I like, that works for me, and I record music and write music to, you know, get people excited about that side of things now.
So for you now, it's more about the artistry, the creative side, and now with these signature guitars, you've got the perfect instruments for you to do your thing, effectively.
Exactly. Yeah. Really long-winded way of me saying that, yes.
Yeah, okay. No, I totally get it. I think that's a good point to finish this chat, because we're almost at an hour now, and I feel like in future we could maybe go into more of the artistry stuff and do another interview if enough people watch this and like this. But just for the end of this interview, tell people a bit more about where they can get the guitar, and also where they can hear your personal projects, Mutilius and otherwise.
So, right now, if you're not in the States, obviously, the way that you can purchase the guitar is actually by Vola selling direct to the customer. So with, if you just literally go to Vola shop, just type in Vola Guitars shop on Google, and it will bring up their European Japanese website, which is you can buy if you live in Europe or England or Japan. You can buy direct off of their website. And there is a different version of that website for the States, but now you can buy my guitar from shops in the States. So not necessarily needing to buy direct off of their website. So that's how you can purchase the guitar. Right now, if you use the code JOS in all capital letters, you get an extra percentage off. So you get 30% off of the final price of the actual guitar, which is probably 30%. The best. So wow, it's 25% off now. If you use the code JOS, you get an extra 5. So you get 30% off of the full price at checkout, which is why it's the best time to buy the guitar now if you're interested. Band stuff. We finished the album. It sounds heavy as balls. We're literally... You can pre-save our first single off the album, which is called Lichen. You can pre-save that right now. It's out on the 25th of this month. And then after that, we're going to be announcing the release date for the album. And that is crazy because that was literally all done online. We did none of it was face-to-face. So that was great.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was 2 years in the making. So 2 years of writing, recording, and releasing as well.
Awesome. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Joss Allen. Check him out at Mutilius. Go and check out his YouTube, his Instagram page as well, where he's much more active. Vola Guitars. All the links will be down in the description there. Joss, thank you so much for taking the time today, and hopefully we can get you back on to chat some more stuff at some point. But that's been it for today's video. I've been Rich for Rich Words Music, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.